Someone once told me, winning everything means you lose something too. I believed them, only I didn't realize how true it would become. I've stood on the highest platforms, I've lifted the trophies, I've heard the roar. And yet in the quiet, after the lights go out, I felt a hollow no one can see. It began when I was young, Madeira, Portugal. A boy who never had enough, who borrowed dreams. I wanted to escape every limitation, the poverty, the small island, the lack of attention. At 17, I debuted for the first team at Sporting CP, and I sensed the beginning of something larger than me. When I moved to Manchester United in 2003, I thought, this is it. This is the moment I win. I thought the moment I win, I'll be happy. I'll be free of doubt. I'll be respected. The first trophies came, the first Ballon d'Or, recognition, chalice of victory. And with each success, I felt adrenaline, validation, but quietly more was asked of me. I trained when others rested. I pushed when others paused. I iced my body when others celebrated. And for a time it worked. I believed I had mastered the prize. I believed I had paid in full. Then something changed. The records kept falling, goals, appearances, transfers. And the higher I climbed, the quieter the applause became. Or rather, the louder the expectations grew. I developed a new scorecard in my head, perfection, 100%. Win, don't just win, dominate. But the deeper I committed, the farther away I felt from who I was. I remember being 24, transferring to Real Madrid for a then world record fee. Everyone thought dream fulfilled. I thought now the world sees me as I am. But inside, I felt a new pressure, a weight I couldn't shake, to never lose, to always deliver, to stay perfect. Because if you fall, they remember. Because if you lose, they forget. Because if you stop being the machine, you become human. And I hate that. There was a season when I scored 50 plus goals. I thought it would feel like freedom. Instead, I felt empty. I look in the mirror and ask, what did this cost me? It cost me nights of rest. It cost me peace of mind. It cost me simple sanity. And the strange thing, I was surrounded by people, cameras, fans, praise, yet I felt more alone than ever before. I remember walking into the stadium before a final. I heard the chant, I felt the energy, and I also heard the fear inside me. What if I fail? A thought I never used to have. Failure used to motivate me. Now it haunted me. Not the failure of losing the game, the failure of being something less, being something normal, being something flawed. That's when success began to ask more of me than I ever asked of it. I missed birthdays, I missed meals, I missed seeing my son grow by inches. While they saw the 7 numbers on my shirt and the millions behind my name, I was counting minutes away from home, hours away from peace. I carried trophies in my suitcase, but I carry regret in my heart. In one winter, I flew from Madrid to a private home in Madeira. I slipped into the house I grew up in. My childhood room slightly changed. My mother changed. My father gone. The boy I was looked up at the man I had become. And he asked, is this what I gave my life for? The man didn't answer. He couldn't. There were echoes in that room. Echoes of laughter and of silence. Success had taken something without telling me which things. It took spontaneity, the freedom to rest when I wanted. It took vulnerability, because showing weakness in my world meant giving someone an edge. It took simple dreams, because those were replaced by flags, contracts, endorsements, and so I began to feel an emptiness. I couldn't dribble around. It showed up in these small moments, walking into a hotel room at 3 a.m. after a game, and the bed is made, the lights are off, but no one is there. Picking up the phone to call a friend and realizing the friend is asleep or the number is wrong. smiling for cameras at the airport and feeling like the mask you wear is tighter than the shirt you pull on, and the bigger moments, the rivalry, the number 7 shirt. The world expected me to win and win again, and every year I did, or at least on paper. But I remember sitting in the dressing room after a loss, not a big loss, just a draw, and I felt hollow. I asked, did they see how much I tried? Did they feel how beaten I was? I told my mind, get up tomorrow, go train. But my muscle said, rest. I ignored them. And the next year, I broke a record, but I lost a part of me in the process. When I moved to Italy, you would think, change of scenery, fresh chapter. But I arrived with fewer fans, more critics, less scrutiny from cameras, more in my own head. I realized success isn't a destination, it's a cage. And this cage grows as it rises, because the higher you fly, the smaller your fall looks. But the distance from the ground matters, and I was soaring, airborne, but away from the ground of what made me human. I still remember a match at Juventus, rain falling, the crowd tense, me quiet inside. I scored, applause, I raised my arms, I heard the commentators praise, and yet I walked off the pitch feeling I didn't feel anything, because inside I wondered, was it for me or for the machine I've become? I thought winning would feel the emptiness. It didn't. Instead, it taught me emptiness doesn't go away by adding trophies. It clears by subtracting illusions. And this is where the lesson comes to you and to me. You might think if you win everything. But winning means you pay. And sometimes you pay what you never asked to owe. Maybe that's the price of greatness. Maybe that's the cost you don't see in the highlight reels. I've learned 3 truths in this journey. The body wins trophies, the mind wins freedom. I broke records with my feet, but I found peace with my mind. Because the day comes when your body doesn't outrun your regrets. Be present in the silent periods. The moments when the cameras are off, the hotel is quiet, your phone doesn't ring. That's where you find yourself or lose yourself. Let success serve, not define. I used to define myself by goals, numbers, feats. Now I ask, am I serving my purpose, my family, my values? Because I almost quit, not football, but the version of me I had become. There was a morning I sat by the sea in Madeira, the waves small, the wind gentle, and I asked, who am I, if not Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballer? The answer I didn't want to find. I fear it, but I found something else. Cristiano Ronaldo, the human, and that scared me more than any opponent ever did. I want you to imagine one of my early mornings. I wake at 5 a.m., the world is silent. I lace up my boots, tuck my feet into the grass before the stadium lights flicker on. The dew is heavy, my breath visible. I am alone. I have already scored, already conquered in the mind of the world. Yet, in that silence, I feel something I never felt as a child. The absence of purpose. I used to play because the ball taught me something. The ball listened. It didn't judge. The ball rewarded effort. When I began, I was free, I was reckless, I was hungry, but success changed the rules. I traded freedom for precision. I traded risk for guarantee. I traded joy for routine. I don't complain about the trophies. They sit in glass cabinets. They glitter in my past. They tell stories. But the story they don't tell is the quiet nights I lost, the friends I tried and failed to keep, the evenings I canceled so I could train when I should have rested, the meals I skipped because I said I was preparing for a match when really I was preparing for my own fear of failure. There was a season in Madrid when the record I broke seemed more important than the smile on my son's face. I traveled for the Champions League. I scored under floodlights. I raised my arms to tens of thousands. And when I came home, I saw a photograph of him holding a trophy with his school team. And I didn't remember being there. I remember being on TV. I remember being revered. I didn't remember being present. At 29, I thought I had built my legacy. At 35, I realized I was building a fortress around myself. The fortress kept in the crowds, the adulation, the team sheets, but it shut out the voices of the people I love. I began to forget what silence sounded like, what stillness felt like. I forgot how to sit and just be. Maybe that's the price of greatness. When I changed clubs again, when I went to Juventus, people applauded the move. A new league, new challenge, new headlines. But inside I carried the heaviness of expectation from the past. It wasn't the young boy who wanted to score 10 goals anymore. It was the global icon expected to break 20 years of records. I didn't ask for that icon. It was given. And with it came the loss of being just Cristiano. The truth is, success stole my doubts and he replaced them with new ones. I traded the fear of losing for fear of losing everything. The fear of being ordinary I could carry, the fear of being irrelevant I could hide, but the fear of being unseen and noticed in the noise I could never outrun. Late in the night, after win, after the speeches, after the cameras left, I sometimes stare at my reflection. Not the reflection of the athlete, the reflection of the man. I ask him, who did you become? Did you build what you wanted? Or what the world demanded? I see the scars, and I also see what's missing. The school friends I lost contact with, the dinners I skipped, the phone calls I didn't make because I needed to train, the laughter I replaced with silence, the child I used to be who feared it wasn't enough. That child grew up, succeeded beyond his wildest dreams, and still felt he wasn't enough. Success taught me you don't always win what you think you'll win. I thought I would win ease, I thought I would win admiration, I thought I would win legacy. I did win, but I lost something more vital. The right to rest, the right to just breathe, the right to exist without the title, without the number, without the expectation. Here's what I learned, as plainly as I can. First, your work ends when you stop being more than you are. I once believed my value was measured in goals. Now I believe my value is measured in presence. Second, the record you break today becomes the baseline they expect you to beat tomorrow, and your heart can't always keep up. Third, if you are doing everything for someone else's applause, you will never hear your own voice. And that's the silent loss of success. I think of young players now full of hope, full of hunger. I want to tell them, don't just chase the trophy, chase the day you hang the boots and still look forward to tomorrow. Because the dream doesn't end when the crowd leave. It ends when you stop chasing your own life. There was a match in Saudi Arabia, a new chapter, another goal scored, another legacy immortalized, and the crowd roared. But I stood on the sideline before the game, stared, watching the newer guys warming up. I saw their energy and I realized I envy that simplicity, I envy that hunger, and I didn't envy the trophy. They assumed it would come. I envied the freedom to just want and not have yet. That's the moment I accepted. I don't want to be remembered for what I scored. I want to be remembered for who I was when no one was looking. If I could give one piece of advice, when you climb, pull someone up with you. When you shine, allow someone to see themselves in your light, not just you in yours. When you win, let it never cost you the privilege to sit quietly with the people you love, to laugh when you're not successful, to be bad sometimes, to rest without guilt, because the biggest cost of success isn't what you pay now, is what you give up later. And when you realize too late, the trophies don't matter, the trophies don't talk, the trophies don't stay. The only thing staying is you. I still train at dawn, I still push myself, but now I train for the son who watches, I train for the person who fights quietly. I train so that when the stadium is empty and the lights go off, I can go home and look at myself in the mirror and feel I lived. Not for the applause, not for the record, but for the life in between. Not everything I lost is regret. Some of it is wisdom, but I will never get back the days I skipped, the laughter I missed, the moments I missed simply being, if you were to ask me today what success took from me, I would say it took the right to be just a boy with a ball. But it gave me the stage to show the world what that boy became. And if I were to ask you, what are you willing to pay for your victory? Because someone always pays, and sometimes we only realize the depth when the spotlight fades. Maybe that's what success really takes, not money, not fame, but the parts of you no one ever sees.